Today, we're diving into a really cool AI tool that's designed to tackle one of the biggest headaches in modern news, media bias. Let's see how it actually works.
You know that feeling, right? You see a headline on one site, and then you see another one that seems to be describing a completely different reality. It's confusing, it's super frustrating, and it gets right to the heart of the whole media polarization problem.
Okay, let's start with the problem itself, how a single event can be twisted and turned into so many different stories. Just take a look at these two headlines. Now, they could be talking about the exact same government bill, but the one on the left frames it with words like progressive policy and vital funding, which creates a really positive vibe. The one on the right, though, it uses bureaucratic overreach and spends recklessly to build a completely different, negative emotional reality before you've even read a single word. And this is really the key, right? The battle for our perception isn't always fought over the raw facts. It's fought in those subtle choices of words, the adjectives, the framing, that basically tell us how we should feel about those facts.
So if language is the problem, could technology actually be part of the solution? Well, let's take a look at a tool designed to do just that. It's called the News-Neutralizer. So what is this thing? Well, in a nutshell, it's an application that acts kind of like a prism for the news. It takes in one article, breaks it all down, shows you the raw, factual core, and then shows you how that core can be colored by all these different viewpoints. And its core features make it a pretty powerful toolkit for taking the news apart. It doesn't just spot bias, it can actually rewrite an article to be purely objective. Then it can show you how different political angles would frame that same story, and it gives you detailed analytics to back it all up. Pretty neat. Okay, this all sounds great, but how in the world does an AI actually pull this off? Let's break down the process it uses to get from a biased article to a more balanced understanding.
The tool uses this simple but really powerful three-step process. First, it puts on its detective hat and scans the article, hunting for those loaded words and subjective frames. Next, it does this kind of digital cleanup, stripping away all the bias to leave only the factual skeleton of the story. And finally, and this is the really cool part, it rebuilds the story from that skeleton, showing you exactly how different viewpoints would present it. And we're not just talking about a simple left or right slant here. The AI's analysis goes way deeper. It's actually trained to categorize bias across all these different domains, from emotionally charged words to the underlying political, cultural, and even economic assumptions baked into a story. All right, theory is one thing, but what does this actually look like in practice? This next section is where we really get to see the tool's output with a concrete example. So here's our starting point. Just listen to these words: controversial, slammed, devastate. This language is obviously designed to create a strong, negative impression right from the get-go. Now watch what the AI does. Slammed just becomes has received criticism. Devastate gets toned way down to the much more neutral, significant impact. See? The core information is still there, but that emotional charge, it's gone. We're just left with the facts. Okay, now it gets even more interesting. The AI takes those same facts and reframes them from a left-leaning perspective. All of a sudden, the focus shifts to concepts like social equity and systemic change. The facts are the same, but the lens we're looking through highlights a totally different set of concerns. And finally, here's the right-leaning perspective. The key words, they change again. Now the criticism is all about government overreach, and the economic impact is focused on individual businesses. It's the exact same event, but the narrative is completely different. Seeing all three of these side by side, it is incredibly revealing. And for all you tech folks out there, the tool isn't locked into just one AI engine. You can think of it like a car that can run on different types of fuel. It can use engines from Claude, OpenAI, or Google, and you can choose the best one for the job, whether you need deep analysis, raw speed, or to save a little money. So a tool like this is a really fascinating first step, right? But it makes you wonder, where does this kind of technology go from here? What could the future of media literacy actually look like? Well, the project's roadmap gives us a few clues. Just imagine a browser extension that lets you analyze any article with a single click. Or what about the ability to compare two different articles on the same topic, side by side? These enhancements could make this kind of critical analysis a totally seamless part of how we all consume information. And that really brings us to the most important takeaway here. The ultimate purpose of a tool like the News-Neutralizer isn't to give you one single, correct version of the news. Not at all. It's to equip you with the ability to see the mechanics of how news is put together, empowering you to think more critically for yourself.
Which leaves us with one final question to ponder. We all kind of live in our own information bubbles, don't we? But what if a tool could effortlessly show us how the other side sees the world, based on the very same facts? Could that build a little empathy? Could it actually change our own perspectives? That's definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.